Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Championship Leadership Podcast. I'm excited today. We got Tito Ortiz in the house, and thank you so much for being here, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate having you on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy times we're going through right now. We got so whenever you listen to this, but right now we're in the heart of the Kung Flu virus epidemic, pandemic, and people are at home. We're trying to figure this all out together and what to do. How's it going for you over there in California?
I'm in Huntington Beach, California, and I haven't been out of the house maybe twice in the last 2 weeks. And I don't know, I like seclusion, so I'm okay with being at home. Yeah. But when I did go out, I'm like seeing people congregating, people hanging out, like downtown Huntington Beach. I'm just like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, these people, all of a sudden, people are like going on walks. I mean, I've never seen so many people walk around in my neighborhood as many as now. I'm like, what were you guys doing before? I mean, can't you guys just stay down for 10 days, 14 days and just stay home? I mean, I packed my house, made sure that food and water, I mean, my kids had everything they needed. So I didn't have to worry about going out of the house. But, things are, I guess, I don't want to say normal to me, but, it keeps me cautious. That's for sure.
Yeah. So how is this, of course it's impacting us all. I've heard a few people kind of make comparisons to maybe 2008 or 9 with the crash and maybe how that impacted them. But I mean, that didn't impact everyone like this is impacting everyone, right? In some form or fashion. Like, how is it impacting you inside of, I know you just had a fight in December. You got another one coming up?
I have another one coming up, I believe, by summertime to fall.
Okay.
So, I normally get, anywhere from 1 to 2 fights a year. It's easier on my body, of course, but, it's just finding the right opponents that the company that I signed with, they got to go out and they got to find opponents that want to fight me. So that's the important thing. And it is getting hard, but at the same time, I think the effect for me, I mean, I do own small business, Punisher Athletics, my clothing company. It does make a huge effect to it because people don't want to go out and spend money. People are kind of just holding down and making sure they can support their families. And it's a difficult time right now. But just hold on tight, and this ride will be over here soon. Within hopefully by Easter it'll be over, and that's what we're hoping.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something to definitely keep in perspective, that we are going to get through this thing. And life is going to open back up and kind of be hopefully better than normal.
It should. It should. The economy was doing wonderful prior to this. Yeah. There's so many different things that people are saying why this is happening, and I don't know. I just got to look at the honest truth of all of it. The trade deal that Trump was doing with China, they didn't like it, and it's my opinion, strictly my opinion, but. Maybe that had something to do with it, because all of a sudden it got spread out from there to here, and our president said the Chinese virus, and they got all bummed and called him a racist for saying that, and it didn't make sense, man. And I mean, it came from China. I mean, what about the Spanish flu? There's so many different sicknesses that came that they gave the name of it by where it came from, and that's truly people say that it came from someone eating bat soup or something crazy like that. But this was a man-made virus, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if people pay attention to Q. I just started really following it here the last year, and the lines are just connecting, man. Things are just coming together and just crazy. I'm hoping it's not 100% true. I feel bad for the kids, the kid trafficking, a lot of things that are going on. Like I said, I don't want to get in people's business to that, but at the same time, it needs to be aware that there is something going on, or else there wouldn't be a little bit of truth to what someone's saying. Yeah,
right. I think it was a few days ago you posted a video on your Instagram about this and the ties to China and everything that was going on, and it sure opens a guy's mind to, I think it's very healthy to always be questioning and not just taking the answer that's being fed to you, right?
100%. I mean, that's the American way, man. You got to think like that. You got to question everything. If you don't question everything, you become sheep, and
Yeah.
I've never been that person. I've always been a person to go against the grain and always ask questions and always say why and give me an answer. And that's how I raise my boys. You know, I want my boys to have answers. I just start telling my boys, stop, don't do that. And they say, why? I say, because I said so. No, I tell them why. I give them the pros, I give them the cons, and I answer their questions. And I think that's very important to educate my children. And, you know, when I was growing up, my parents never really educated me. I had to educate myself through college. But I've always questioned things. And these are type of things that I do have questions about. And I try to find the answers and fact check them. You know, sometimes I am wrong.
Sure.
And I'm always willing to say when I'm wrong. But lately, I've kind of been right.
Right. Yeah. What you know, obviously you're a big supporter of Trump as well, and you know, championship leadership's the name of this podcast, and talk a little bit about number one, always questioning things, and like as a parent, I think that's a huge one. Instead of like just because I told you so, but like, well, here's why. Like, it's great that they're asking questions, right? We don't want to silence our kids at a very early age, and so I love that you do that. But where does how do you think that President Trump is really leading us through this time right now? Again, I know you're a huge proponent and supporter of him, and you're a man that you stand behind, you know, the beliefs that you have, which I think is awesome, but it's so needed right now. There's so many people that don't do that, right? They're afraid to let other people know their opinions, and I think that's part of the reason that we got ourselves into some of these problems that we have today. But what are your thoughts on all that?
You know, I really just, I mean, for one, the job he's doing is amazing. You know, there's no other president has been doing a job the way he's doing, and being hands-on. You know, go figure. When was it the H1N1 when Obama did, and the Ebola, I think it was Obama. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on that. It was swept under the rug. He never said nothing about it. There was no pandemic or anything at all during those times, and there was more people died in that than even close to what's happening now. But Trump is really hands-on of protecting this country. This country means so much to him. You know, back in 1989, he said if this country ever goes to hell, that he's going to step up and he's going to run for presidency, and he did that, and he won.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And he's the American dream. You know, back when Obama, he used to say, you know, living the American dream is Donald Trump, and he was speaking the truth. Now finally he's here and he's doing his job, and everybody's trying to get him out. Well, not everybody. All the Democrats are trying to get him out because they have no control, and when they lose control, they don't like it, and they're trying to attack him as much as possible. When the economy is such on a high point that it was, and all of a sudden this coronavirus came and it just destroyed our market. Now China's buying all of our market at a cheap price.
Right.
And now look at their market. Their market is, I think a positive 15%. Once again, don't quote me on that. I'm going by this number that I've seen the last couple of days. And ours is in the tank by 30%. And it's smart business on their part, but I think Trump could bring it all back again. It's just a factor of getting rid of this coronavirus. And if people would stay home, once again, people, please stay home for at least a week. I mean, we've already been at this for over 14 days now. Let's just stay in for one more week. What's one more week? Don't go out for walks. I mean, what's 7 days? 7 days is nothing. Just stay at home. I mean, if you need to get your essential stuff, as in water or some food or something, send one person. Don't go together in a group or with your kids. Because I did do that about a week and a half ago. I took my kids with me, and I come to realize, I was like, wow, there is actually not that many people in here. And I realized there's not that many supplies in the stores. I was like, wow, this is serious. So I kept my kids at home. I would go by myself. And for the first time ever, I kind of got a little afraid. Of course, I shouldn't get afraid. I'm Tito Ortiz. I should be able to beat everybody. But, you know, you're not going to beat up a bullet. So for the first time, I had to do my conceal and carry. Made me feel a little more safe. But at the same time, you know, I shouldn't be able to do that. Or not be able. I shouldn't have to do that here in the States. But it's what's important is feeling safe. I think my kids should feel safe. All of us should feel safe here living in America. And I think Trump's doing an amazing job. For once, let this guy do his job. And he's doing a great job at it.
He is. He's doing amazing. What's where does that come from for you? Meaning like, hey, you know, you're a proud supporter of Trump, not popular. You have beliefs, and you have no problem letting people know what those are. And if you're wrong, like you said, you're going to own it, and you'll let people know, hey, I said this or whatever, and hey, it was wrong. That's
Well,
how it is. Like, did that come from, just meaning, like, is that something that was instilled from you, from a coach, a mentor, parent, or was that something that's just kind of always been natural for you?
It might have came from some coaches. When I first started wrestling, I thought this was the right way to do a move. And they're like, no, do it this way. I go, oh, you're right, coach. You're right. I think that's where it might have came from. I wish it would have came from my parents. It might have came from my mom a little bit. My father was never there for me.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think it was just my conscience knowing what's right from wrong, and, not being stubborn. And let me tell you, I'm an Aquarius to a T, so I'm a very stubborn person. I believe one way until I'm proven wrong. But when I am proven wrong, I will admit my wrong. But I think it's just being an honest man, saying the right things, and believing, treating others the way I want to be treated, and doing it the right way, not being ignorant. I think being ignorant is a bad fast to have of this learning curve that we're trying to learn each and every day. I mean, not just as parents, but as humans.
Right.
It's tough. It's hard. It's not easy. If life was easy, everybody wouldn't have a problem.
That's right. Yeah.
But it is difficult, just being a parent every day, making the right decisions for my children's future. My parents had me. I guess they didn't realize how tough it was going to be. And it took me a long time to understand my father of why he did what he did. But I come to realize that parenting is not easy. Yeah. It's not something that is given. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of challenging with your child. It's a lot of battles back and forth. But if you hit them with the truth, they can't really say anything back. I tell my kids when I scold them, and I tell them why, and I'm like, tell me, is that the right way? Do you feel like that's honest? And they're like, yeah. I go, you get it, right? And they're like, yeah. I go, I'm gonna start telling you no for a reason. This is the reasons why. This is what happens if that happens. If you do that, like, well, we get it, Dad. I go, okay, well, I mean, am I right? And they're like, yeah. I go, yeah, I just want to make sure, because I don't want them to feel like I'm bullying you and telling you this is the way it is because I'm your dad. No, this is the way. I want you to realize it, because when they're 18, 19, 20, and they're out on their own and they're in college, I want them to make the right decisions as an adult. That's why I don't treat my kids like little kids. Yes, we have our playtime. We go to the beach when we can. We have the father-son time. We have that time together, family time. We do that. But when it's family decisions or personal decisions or kid decisions on their side, I try to guide them the right way. And I think that's my job. I mean, as a father, I have to do that. Because if I don't do that, someone else is going to do that, or they're going to watch it on TV, or they're going to hear it from one of their friends' parents.
Yeah.
And I want to be the leader. My kid is not my best friend. All three of my boys, not one of them are my best friend. They're my sons.
Yep.
They don't call me Tito ever. Right. They call me Dad. Yeah. I'm not their buddy. They have a problem, they come to me. Every time we're at dinner, we sit down and we talk. It's like, how was your day? Of course, the last couple of weeks we've been at home, so we know what we're doing every day. But prior to that, in school, we ask, well, how's the day been? Any problems at school? We try to really take the bull by the horns every single day. And I think that's what makes a family strong and important, really important. And I think it's missed because nowadays with electronics, parents just kick a cell phone to their kids or an iPad and say, here you go amongst your day. And the social skills between kids have been lost. I see a lot of kids and you meet them or they're introduced and the kid just kind of looks at you like does no eye contact, no handshake, no fervent. With my boys, it's like they'll walk up, hi, I'm Journey, and they'll shake your hand, look you right in the eyes. Hi, I'm Jesse, shake your hand, look right in the eyes. Hi, I'm Jacob, shake your hand, look right in the eyes, and be respectful. And I teach them that because I'm like, boys, how do you want to be respected? They're like, well, I want people to be honest with me. I want people to like me for who I am. And I'm like, well, if you want that, you got to give that back to the person that you want to receive that from. And it's just life, man. It's life, and people have kind of lost it, that old school mentality. I think it's very important to maybe bring back. I'm 45 years old, so I lived a very graceful life. I lived a long life in a short amount of time. You know, I think I went from about maybe anywhere from 2 to 3 lifetimes, I think, because I lived through some hard times, really, really troublesome times, and really, really great high peak points in my life that were amazing, to being a world champion. And then going back down to the bottom of the barrel and trying to save somebody else, and then having kids and figuring out being a parent and have to reinvent myself in my, you know, when I turned 35, I think it was, and I had now a totally new life where everything is grand. You know, I have a beautiful home, I have beautiful cars, I have a boat. I have things. I've worked so hard over the last 23 years of mixed martial arts and having other businesses that I'm thankful to be sitting where I'm sitting. And I teach my boys these things of what hard work and dedication is about. You know, probably about 4 years ago, now I think I'm around that, about 5 years ago, we're downtown Huntington, and we're rolling around my Rolls Royce Phantom, and the boys are in the back in their high chairs, or their seats or booster seats, and a fan walks by and he's like, Tito, Tito, Tito. And my one of my twins, the boys, he's like, Tito, Tito. I turn around and look back at him. I go, Journey, don't you call me Tito. I'm dad to you. He's like, okay, Dad. Oh, I'm sorry. I go, no, that's all right. And then the other twin is like, Dad, why do they like cheer for your name so much? Well, because they respect you. They're like, really? I go, yeah, they respect me for the work that I've done. I go, I'd rather be respected than be feared. And you're like, that's pretty cool. I mean, at 5 years old, they got in their mind. It was like, and parents, you understand, the children's mind are developing so fast from the age of 4 to 18 is just, they're growing so fast and learning so much. So whatever you're able to feed them, or education is what I try to feed my kids as much as possible. Give them every answer to every question they have. Don't say no. Don't say because I said so. Don't say, you know, this is the way it is because that's the way it is. No, explain things to them. Educate them, because they're seeing things for the first time ever in their life. And with my kids, I try to do that. I mean, I'm trying to mold men. I'm not trying to mold children. I think it's important.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Something you said, you know, basically you want to be that example, that leader for your kids, because we know, like, if we're not, somebody else will, right? And you're not, you know, you don't want to leave that up to chance. That's a huge thing for me, is the same thing. Like, I only got this little window of time with them before they really kind of go out on their own, and I want to make the most of that for sure. So I love that. What's the vision for you? Like, what you have lived, you know, a full life, or 2.5 or 3 lives, right? And but you're not done yet, of course.
No.
What's in the future for you inside your life, fighting, you know, training?
Well, on the fighting game, you know, I signed a deal with Combate Americas for 2 years. I just finished my first year last year, so we got another full year this coming up. I got another fight with them. I feel better now than I did when I was in my 30s. I think it's just the realm that I'm in, the area. I mean, not area, but the life I'm living. I've been with my girlfriend, Amber Nicole Miller, now for almost 7 years. Life is normal. It's crazy how life can be normal. My ex, Jenna, she was just, it was so toxic. It was a hard life, I think, a hard way to live, a worrisome way to live. And as a fighter, it's difficult enough just to let alone get into a cage and fight another person, but to do it 6 days a week in a gym 3 times a day, sparring and wrestling and jiu-jitsu and weight training and road work. I mean, putting all these things every day, 6 days a week, 4 times a day, and to come home to someone yelling at you or someone being conniving, it's a mental breakdown. Well, now that my life has been changed so much over the last 7 years, that I love fighting, I love training, I love coming home with my kids. I mean, my life is totally different. So I feel reinvigorated, not just my career, but my body. You know, I have no more injuries. I've gone through 8 surgeries. I've had 3 knee surgeries. I've had a back surgery. I've had 4 neck surgeries. I've done very, very well on recovery. I've done really well on my rehab for my neck. So just the training of my last fight, I put in 20 weeks of full camp. That's the longest camp I've ever had in my career. But it wasn't hard, rigorous training as I was in the beginning of my career, because I would stuff 8 weeks, or I would stuff 6 months into 8 weeks. And it was so hard because I was just killing my body. I wasn't in shape for the camp in general. I was getting in shape for the fight, and the fight was already there. Now that I'm getting in shape for the camp, I'm training for the fight. So when the fight's there, I'm ready to compete. So I think the mindset's a lot different now that I'm a little more wiser. I think it's important. Right. Taking a little page out of Randy Couture's book back when he was in his 40s and winning world titles. I had the same idea in my mind. I was like, gosh, I still have it. You know, when my last fight was just in December 7th of 2019. And at the weigh-ins, I looked like I was 25 years old again, man. It was crazy. I had an 8-pack and I was in shape. I put in the work, but it was, once again, it was the mentality. It was the mindset of getting up every day and doing the work. You know, there was a couple times in there where I would hop on my bike because I do a 19-mile bike ride every morning, and I'd hop on my bike, and in between the bike ride, I do 20 flights of stairs, or up and down 20 times, 2 flights of stairs. And I remember one of the days that I was bike riding, I was like, I really don't have to train this hard. Yeah, this guy's a WWE wrestler. Yeah, he's fought in MMA a few times, but he hasn't fought in a long time. And I was like, Tito, you don't have to push yourself this hard. And I have this conversation with myself all the time because once again, it's me questioning. And I was like, no, but you're getting paid to step in the ring and win. If you lose to this guy, you'll be humiliated by everyone. I was like, all right, step it up. And it's just literally within that 10 seconds of that whole idea and that conversation with myself, it was like I picked up the bikes. I picked up the pace. I got to the stairs. I ran the stairs faster. I got back home. That was one of my best times I ever got at 48 minutes. 19-mile bike ride with 20 flights of stairs. Wow. And it was one of my best times, but it was a positive reinforcement that I did for myself of believing in it and making it and dreaming it. And then when the fight came about, I went for a body lock and he threw me and my face hit the mat. And when my face hit the mat, let me tell you, I seen stars like no other. I was like, and I looked over at him and he looked at me and it was like, I don't know, half a second. But I realized like, oh no, I'm still in the fight. And I tacked and ended up finishing the fight in 3 minutes and 10 seconds in the first round with a choke. But it was that one little instance. That little instance went back to the bike ride. Yeah. If I would have slowed down, or if I would have said, you know what, I'll go back home. I don't need to push myself. That might have been the instance that, boom, I would have been dazed and like, oh, yeah, remember you didn't do that bike ride, you didn't do the stairs. But my mindset was flipped around the other way, whereas a positive reinforcement of going, no, I did those stairs and I pushed yourself and this is where you need to go and go and go and go. And I ended up winning the fight from that. But once again, it goes to positive reinforcement of believing in what you can do and what you can achieve. Yeah, that's powerful. Is that something you talk to your kids about too? A lot, all the time, you know, because they do jiu-jitsu, they're in jiu-jitsu. They did wrestling for about 4 years, and they've been doing jiu-jitsu now for the last 2 years. So I started them in wrestling at 4, and this is amateur wrestling, as you see, Olympics and so forth. But it was really, really hard on them. They saw a lot of trials and tribulations through it where they're like, yeah, this is hard. I don't know if I do it. And I was like, you guys got to pick another sport. They're like, we'll do kickboxing and jiu-jitsu. And so we started doing that. And the kickboxing, they liked it, was all right, but they loved the jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu was fun because they had an advantage because of wrestling. Yeah. And they're both gray belts right now. And they're learning quick, but it's just making sure having that scheduling with them, you know, and keeping them on a schedule, keeping them busy. It's really important. Education is something I force, like that's just a part of life for them no matter what. They got to read an hour a day no matter what. Saturdays and Sundays they can have off, but Monday through Friday they have to read an hour a day. And they're reading, you know, chapter books that are 300 pages, 400 pages. Education, like I said, when they slacked off, they were getting C's, maybe a D, a B at the highest. And I'm like, you guys, you can't do this. Is not what I expect. Last year, you guys were all A students and you guys are in gate classes. Why are you slacking right now? Like, well, I just was kind of hurrying. I want to get on the computer. I was like, okay, no more computer for you. Yeah. They're like, what do you mean I'm on no more computer for you? And the grade kind of still stayed there. And we came home. I was like, you guys can have no more video games on the weekends. No more watching wrestling on TV. They're like, what? And they kept at it. I was like, guys, you're going to have to pay something for it, man. You guys are getting bad grades. I go, you guys get A's and B's? I go, you guys can play video games again. They're like, really? I go, yeah. Another couple weeks go by and the grades still didn't move. I'm like, guys, grade video games don't matter? Like, well, I mean, I go, all right, cool. We're going to shave your head then. They're like, what? we're gonna shave your hair. They're like, no, Dad, I like my long hair. And I go, you want to be lazy? You're gonna know there's repercussions from it. So that was a Friday,
That's
and
great.
I go, all right, it's time to shave your head. They're like, okay, we're ready. And they were like, all right, let's go. And they're like, okay with it. I go, really? I go, all right, cool. I'm all, and I just one part of their head on both of them, and they almost started crying. They're like, Dad, you can't leave it like this. I'm all, yeah, well, like, no, the principal won't let us. I go, oh, don't worry, I'll call the principal. I know her. I'll make sure that it'll be okay. They're like, so Saturday rolls by. They're like, Dad, please shave her head. Please shave her head. I go, all right, it's all right. I go, here, let's post something on my Instagram. And I posted on my Instagram. You know, it was about a 70-30, you know, 70% of the people are like, oh, that's a little much. And 30% are like, that's way too much. You shouldn't be doing that. You're embarrassing your kids.
Right.
And I was like, okay, go ahead and you be your own parent. I'll watch how I do my thing.
Yeah.
And Sunday rolls on. They're like, okay, Dad. They wake me up in the morning like, Dad, please, will you please shave my head? I go, what are you guys going to do? We'll pay attention, I promise. We'll get our grades up. I go, you promise? I go, if not, I'll shave your head again when it grows back. They're like, yeah, I promise. Just please shave it all the way. So I shaved their heads all the way. They're like, all right, Dad, we promise. 2 months later, we got one that has 5 A's, 1 B. We have another one that has 4 A's, 2 B's.
Nice. That's awesome, man.
I'm gonna look at guys. Great. You guys got your beautiful hair.
Yeah, right.
Video games.
Video games.
Pretty much do what you want, and it was just a lesson. It was a lesson I tried to teach them.
Huge lesson. They'll remember that forever too, right?
And they do remember, because every time I say, you guys slack, you want your head shaved again? They're like, no. Straight up. But I mean, I try to get my kids proper, man. It's important.
Yeah, it is. What one more question here for you before we get out of here and respect your time. What's a critical moment or kind of a turning point in your life where, you know, you had a decision to make and you made the decision you did, which has you where you are today, but had you, you know, decided to go a different path, you could be in a completely different place in your life right now. Is there a critical moment that steps out for you?
You know, there's had to be 3 different ones, you know, but the most recent one that has changed my life and has got me where I am mentally, physically, emotionally, with my children, just home in general. And you gotta understand, I've worked so hard to be where I am right now. I'm on the water in Huntington Beach, in Huntington Harbor. And as a kid, I used to fish on the docks here, and I used to tell my buddies, one day I'm gonna own a house here. Oh, bullshit, awesome. Shut up. And I go, no, what, really, one day I'm going to own a house here. And I like, it's taken me, you know, since 2009 to get here. 2009 when I purchased my home here. 2006, I purchased a Rolls Royce Phantom, was always been my dream car. Yeah. And I still have it. Well, in 2012, 2013, around there, I was with my ex, and there was just troublesome times here. It was just one of those things that I had a choice. You know, I had to make the same choice my mom made when I was a kid with my father. My mother and father had a heroin problem. My ex had a pill problem, and it was around my house. There was drugs around my house. There was different people, like transvestite stuff around my house, her friends. And I have no problem with people like that. I mean, I'm not racist at all towards that. Gay people she had around, and they have their problems, their difficulties. I understand, it is what it is, but don't bring that stuff in my home. Right. And she was bringing that in my home. I'd go to training camp. I'd come back. I had nannies taking care of the kids that I was paying $20,000 a month for a 24-hour nanny, full time around. And she wasn't doing her job as a mother. And I had to make a decision my mom made. You know, I love the woman a lot. Don't get me wrong. You know, I tried to do everything possible to help her, to fix her. But I come to realize through my therapist that I had to find someone to fix me and stop trying to fix someone else. Yeah. You can't fix anybody. They have to fix themselves. And I had to make the decision. She left for her birthday. I think it was on April 14th. And then she left until the end of the month. And I was just like, where in the hell is she? And I said, you know what? Here's my chance. Enough's enough. I called my attorney, and I got a restraining order, and I got full custody of my kids, and my life changed. I remember sitting in the office of my attorney, and she told me, she goes, Tito, I promise you, a year from now, you'll be thanking me. And I didn't understand it at the time. I was like, yeah, it's hard. I mean, I had a really hard time with just accepting it, of her being gone. And I've always wanted the beautiful house with the white picket fence and the beautiful family, the beautiful wife, the beautiful husband. I mean, the whole package. That's what I always wanted as a kid growing up. And I had this opportunity for my kids. Well, I had to make that huge decision that my mom made, and I had to leave. Or she left, and she never came back since. And it's been almost 8 years now. It's crazy how fast time goes. It's just amazing. But that was the most troublesome time, I think, in my life, man, that I really had to suck it up and be a man, and be a father and just take care of my kids. That was the most important thing. And I changed their lives. I changed my life. You know, life became normal. You know, my kids grew up. I mean, they're really smart kids that we have a family base here. You know, Amber does an amazing job as a mom to them. Not their true mother, but she's their mom. They accept her as their mother, and you know, we don't have nannies. We don't have people come and clean in the house. You know, she does most of the work. You know, I pay the bills, she does the work, and we take care of the kids together, and it's a happy family. And I think that was one of the most challenging times of my life, but it made me be a man. It made me step up and take care of my family. And what comes first is my children. People talk about my legacy. You know, my legacy could be being the world champion, or being the fighter, being the person who's always giving back, being the person always giving back to fighters, just the people in general, just motivating them and being better. But I think my legacy is my children. I mean, I know my legacy is my children. When I leave this earth, I want my children to look back and go, you know, my dad was a good man. My dad did a lot of great things, and that's how I can leave it at, man. And that's what it touched me deep down in my heart, because I wish my father was like that, and he never was. But it's that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, man. That's the way life is. You know, people got to understand the mistakes we do. You know, I make mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've never made the mistakes twice. And I think that's important, because I've learned through those mistakes. I think being human in general is very, very tough, and people need to understand you're gonna make a mistake, but try not to make those mistakes twice. Because if you don't make them twice, you're learning something, and that's what's important in this generation society we live in right now.
Yeah. Well, you know, and it also is like, you know, you talked about always wanting that happy family and the white picket fence, but it's just like your story. It kind of feels like you have that now, but a lot of times you got to make that hard, difficult decision, that the one that you didn't think, like, this isn't how it was supposed to play out, to get what it is that you actually want sometimes in life, right?
Yeah, they say you guys suffer to succeed. And I thought when I was a kid suffering, but that really wasn't suffering. That was just something that I got exposed to that I probably shouldn't have, but I learned a lot from it. I grew up quick, but I think a lot of suffering happened during that time in 2009 to 2013 that I suffered a lot. And I know what it feels like to be in a dirty fishbowl, and I don't ever want to go in that toxic relationship ever again. And I don't want my kids to be around that situation. You know, me and my girlfriend now, they've been together for almost 8 years. We never fight. We have discussions. So we do have arguments, and we do. It's we finalize it that day, get it done that night. We don't go to bed mad at each other. And I think it's really important. That's what really makes a working relationship towards each other, you know, and make sure you spend time with each other. A lot of mothers out there who do work hard, taking care of their household, taking care of their children. It's not easy, and they need to be respected and be thankful. Fathers need to be thankful for them. You know, every once in a while, you know, grab your wife and say, babe, thank you so much. I appreciate what you do for me.
Yeah.
And that's all it usually just takes, man. Just a little bit of thank you and a little bit of appreciation. And they do the same thing too. So I think it's can go vice versa on both ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate it. What's some ways that we can follow you and see more of what you got going on? I know your Instagram is one that I love following. Anything else out there that you got going on that you want anyone to know about?
Yeah, well, I have Tito Ortiz Uncaged. Just some of my life stuff, but mostly about my fight stuff, some fishing stuff, going to seeing my troops. I'll be doing another episode here pretty soon with the Border Patrol. I got some pretty cool ideas that we're going to be coming out. Some shooting stuff.
Awesome.
Of course, going to Group 6. Our, Army. I have some friends that are in Destin, Group 6,
Okay.
Green Berets.
Yeah.
And there's some cool guys, straight savages.
Yeah.
But they're here for our country, man. And
Yeah.
I'm a huge supporter of our troops. But people can follow me on Instagram at Tito Ortiz 1999, and of course on Twitter at Tito Ortiz. And my Tito Ortiz Uncaged on YouTube. You know, hit the subscribe button and click the notifications for other episodes to come about.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you coming on today. Thank you so much for making it happen. Appreciate it.
Yes, you're very welcome, man. I hope all your listeners like this conversation. You know, I try to be as real as possible. As I was a Mexican American, but I was born here in Huntington Beach, California. You know, I'm a fourth generation, but I have a little bit of everything in me. So at the end of the day, I'm an American, and I care about this country.
American, right?
Yeah, this is my life. This is how I'm going to live it, and I'm going to raise my kids the right way. And it's important as us as parents. It's not an easy job, so I'll give a pat on every one of your backs who are parents. And it's not hard, but we can get through it together.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. Thank you, Tito.
You're very welcome, man. Thank you.